What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Double Dribble Podcast with Destin and Drew. Of course, I'm Destin.
And I'm Drew.
It's my boy Drew right there. We had like a long debate about not even a debate, just like a conversation about like some shooting percentage and true shooting percentage right before this episode started. That was pretty fun. But this episode, we're gonna dive right into kind of like our recap of the season and the finals. We're going to talk about the draft, and we're going to talk about the upcoming free agency in the NBA, which I thought was going to be boring, this free agency, but it's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And we got some other people who opted in today, and some other people may opt out, become free agents. It's definitely going to be some trades. So we're going to talk about some potential trades, some things we like, things we wish would happen. So we can get right into it. The champs were the Golden State Warriors. My prediction was wrong. I had Boston. Wrong. It didn't surprise me that the Golden State won. It didn't surprise me at all because they're a great team. They have like historic all-time great player. They have some Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers over there. A great coach, a great organization, a great system in place. I just thought like Boston, like their journey throughout like the season to get to where they were. I thought they overcame some things before they got to the finals that prepared them for the finals, but nothing prepares you for the finals like being in the finals and you going against probably the most experienced team in the league right now. With the collection of pieces as far as winning chips together. And, I underestimated Boston's youth, particularly Jason Tatum's.
I would say I overestimated Jason Tatum in this series, unfortunately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like their youth, which is fine. I mean, it's human nature. I just, I expected. Since he showed up, in the first round against KD, he showed up in the second round against Giannis. They had a Game 7 on the road against Miami, and they showed up and played great. I was like, okay, he can do it in the finals, but the finals is always a different beast, and it kind of reminded me a bit of when, like LeBron when he gets San Antonio in 2007. Now, not from the roster standpoint, because Boston has a really good team, and LeBron he had a good defensive team back then, but just from like LeBron when he gets Tim Duncan, and at the time Tim Duncan was, that was Tim Duncan's fourth championship, and they were prepared. They had a great coach. They had great supporting star players, supporting role players, and LeBron and the Cavs were young. And that reminds me of Boston. Boston has Al Horford, but this was his first time playing in the finals as well, even like how old he was. And, Jason Tatum and the Celtics went against the Warriors. Against Steph Curry, who's going for his fourth championship, an experienced team with experienced coach that been through it already. And, props to Boston for turning their season around. I remember them being from being sorry to being pretenders.
They were like way out of the playoffs. And then
they was like 19-20.
Mm-hmm.
They were sorry. Then they turned into pretenders. Then I changed them to contenders. And so they went the distance. So I mean, nothing but respect for them. I'm a Lakers fan, so I can't be too excited for the Celtics. But yeah, nothing but props to them. I could see them definitely making the finals in the near future. And the Warriors did it again.
Yeah. This dude Draymond, the Warriors Invitational, this guy.
The Warriors, hey, that's legendary right there. When I heard that, I was like, that's legendary. He said, "Welcome back to the Warriors Invitational."
Made me sick when I heard that. But nah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Gotta respect the champs, man. They did it. They found a way to retool after Katie left. Steph, he left no doubt in anyone's mind that this was going to be his Finals MVP. He performed remarkable.
Yeah, there's no denying it. Like he deserved it, like 100%. It's not even.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew Wiggins was a monster on both ends. Not a monster, but monster defensively for sure. But he was his two-way play was.
He probably was the second best player in the series if we really think about it now.
Second best player on the Warriors.
You could argue in the series.
Overall.
Yeah, you could argue. I would say like
that's a bit. It's a bit subjective.
Yeah.
Only because when we talk about,
he's not getting like the same,
exactly
focus. And,
like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, where they would on the other end they were getting, especially Jason Tatum was getting like extreme like defensive attention. Andrew Wiggins was he was going all out defensively for sure.
Yeah,
but on offense he was just feeding off.
Yeah, exactly.
Of Curry, Clay, and Draymond's creation. He was getting wide open looks, wide open dunks. He wasn't having to be like a great isolation like type scorer or something like that. So, but he was a star in his role, a superstar in his role, and it was very reminiscent of Andre Iguodala. Actually, I thought when Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP.
No, yeah, you're right.
But and he shouldn't have actually. It should have been Steph. But yeah, he really impressed me. This NBA Finals.
I should say it's that he was the second most consistent player. But probably not the best because he wasn't asked to. There wasn't as much that was required of him. And obviously, like he's not getting any with the focus that Steph was getting.
Yeah, and
or Jalen or Jason.
And I wouldn't even say like Clay, even.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, and the Warriors do a great job of allowing their others to eat off the gravity that Clay and mostly Steph creates, just from how elite they are as shooters. That creates so many opportunities for Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Otto Porter Jr., Gary Payton second, and even Draymond when he wants to shoot. Sometimes, but they did it again. Props to the champs. Steph Curry, I think that was the last thing he needed. Really, was just like a signature finals moment and like that finals MVP. I know some people like. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it kind of matters too at the same time. And he got one, and that's all he really needed was one for me. So he's already was kind of cemented, but this really like, that's cemented.
No, yeah, for like his legacy, this is gonna have. Now we have people putting him in the top 10 all time. I don't think if he didn't get this, even if they won the championship, if he didn't get the Finals MVP, I don't feel like it's kind of silly. But I feel like people wouldn't have been putting him up there like that. It's just such a big,
Just real quick, I'm going to cut you off, but
no,
you had him top 10 before he had the Finals MVP?
No.
And what about now?
But I think, but mostly for me, it wasn't the Finals MVP. I think just winning this championship, the Finals MVP didn't really matter to me as much to put him there. I think that I think on a GOAT list, I feel like you probably got to put him up there now. Just it's kind of just like undeniable. I don't think there's any way to say you can't put him there. That's like, it's not even just that they won the championship. It's like the numbers that he put up, how consistent he was. He was by far the best player in the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we can go into the context of like how they got there and like things like that, but that doesn't really matter when we're talking about who's
like
the GOAT.
Results.
Yeah, we're talking about results. We're talking about what you did on the biggest stage, and what he did.
At the end of the day, you got to perform.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you still got you're in the finals. You gotta we got to judge you based on how you actually ended up winning it. And
Yeah.
yeah, he was fantastic. I mean, I really can't knock anything about his performance in the finals. So
Like Draymond say, you listen to Draymond's podcast?
sometimes, yeah.
Draymond, he always say, he was absolutely incredible. That's what he always say. That's his favorite thing to say.
Did you hear what Iguodala said? This man was doing the most. He said something ridiculous. He was like something about like how Curry has like done something for the world or something. Like he said something. I can't remember the exact quote. It was like
I don't know. Iguodala, he said some things about like he wants to protect Steph's legacy or something like that. He did that all the time.
Yeah, what did he say? It was something like, I mean, it was something like he was going crazy with it. I mean, I get it though, like, but and like he definitely has an argument. Like I know he said that he was he has him as the greatest point guard of all time, which is is highly debatable. But I don't think you could ever debate that he's not the greatest shooter of all time now. I used to like get into debates with people because
that's been over. Nah.
yeah, this has been over. Like, there was like the only argument I felt people could possibly make is when it came to the playoffs. You could argue that like he wasn't the greatest clutch shooter or something like that,
Yeah.
But like it is sort of kind of dependent on what somebody meant by
most.
great. Yeah, like when somebody said great, what did you mean? Did you just mean like he was most efficient for this volume?
Yeah.
And like he's made more threes than anybody else, or what about like when we talk about like crunch time, things like that? Like, is he the greatest in those moments? Those are like I think those are the only arguments that you could have like levied against him.
Mm-hmm.
But after like this last playoff series, we gotta admit like like he has that case now. Like he has it in the clutch as well. He was great in the finals in that game 4. They were going to potentially go down 3-1.
Yeah,
he had to be great. He had the greatest performance probably of his career.
Yeah.
Given the stakes, and would drop 40, went crazy, was hitting shots from everywhere, and he was hitting them in crunch time too.
And free throws too,
and the free throws. Because I remember like one of the guys I used to put up there before Curry like kind of got that. I mean, a lot of people put him up there was Ray Allen, but it was mostly because I felt like when it came to like clutch shooting, and that was even before like he hit that shot, the shot or whatever. But
yeah. For the Heat.
So no, I mean, like, I think you kind of have to put him in that GOAT list. It's kind of hard to say like where I would rank him, but I feel like he has to be like in that top 10.
When you make your top 10, what do you like exclude, or do you just include like everybody ever?
So like I'm not I mean. It's gonna be blasphemous to some people, but I'm not like necessarily all about like just the rings and everything when it comes to that. I think that's an important thing, but like guys like somebody like Bill Russell, sorry, I mean, he still should be up there, but like I probably would have him like at the bottom of that list. And honestly, like I just can't look at like his accomplishments the same. And so
it's like personally, when I make my top 10, I think you know this, but I just go based off the people that I was able to see and experience. Because when you I appreciate all the eras that came before, because like it paid like Bill Russell and Wilt, they paved the way for like Kareem and and Oscar Robinson and Dr. J and Moses.
Yeah, I would say I value the guys that played like in the modern NBA and beyond at a greater level. So like 80s guys in the 80s and above is what I say, right?
Yeah,
so guys that played before the 80s,
like the modern NBA.
Yeah, the modern NBA.
But even then, like then you go from Bird and Magic and Isaiah, and that time, then you go to Jordan, you got Hakeem, you got Charles Barkley, you got Carmelo, all those guys. Then the next generation, you got Tim Duncan, you got Shaq, you got Kobe, you got LeBron, and then you move on to Harden, Steph, KD. And basketball is getting better and better each like decade. It's becoming like it's just evolution, and it's hard for me to compare, especially because like people I wasn't able to like experience and just watch because like rules are different. Um, the style of play is different. Like athleticism, everything is different, and it's sometimes it's really just hard to compare eras.
Yeah, I
I
think it's
would say,
especially. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go.
yeah, no, I was just saying, I would say Steph Curry, he's definitely in like the top 5 players I've ever watched in my life, for sure. Like this dude is, he's other otherworldly. He's like one of the greatest of all time. Now, if you want to, some people, it's a debate right now between eras. Some people calling Steph the greatest point guard of all time. Some people calling Magic the greatest point guard of all time. Now they saying, oh, it depends what you call a point guard. Some people say, oh, Magic was the greatest playmaker. Steph was the greatest shooter. It's I don't know. It's a lot of different things that you can argue with eras. Sometimes I try to stay out of it because it's like you never really gonna get like I don't know. It kind of just depends on who you were able to like experience and and things of that nature. But Steph, he's definitely in one of the top 5 players I've ever watched, like in my life,
No,
for
yeah,
sure.
it's hard because like a lot of times you start getting down to so many different like you projecting a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
because play style changed so much. Like, would this guy be able to do this as well in
Yeah,
that era? Would he be able?
and
Would it?
then oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, go ahead.
No. You can go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then to like to talk about another guy, you have to like put another guy down, and that's you shouldn't have to do that. Like in an argument, that's I mean when you just debating what people accomplished and what people did and how good they were.
Oh, you there?
Why do you have to say, oh, well, this player he choked in
Or what happened?
all that? But I don't know.
Oh, there you are. Oh, there you go. But no, I mean like to me, like that's why I think like it's best to like pick out guys that their game. If we try to compare them with like guys in this era, you want to get players from that era that like kind of transcended their era. So guys that could like you could like they can kind of do a lot of different things that we can. It's easier to project because like that's why I don't like comparing guys like Bill Russell to like the modern game or any of the players that like even played like in the 80s because they just their games are so you know lacking in versatility and what they could do.
True. Like
So
it was
it's
some
like
guys back then who could only dribble with one hand.
yeah, and so we're like a lot of people like to make these arguments like oh like if they played today and they had the modern game and access to modern medication and training and whatever. I'm like that doesn't
Yeah.
you can't say that like we really don't know like we have no idea if
Mhm.
this player would suddenly become good at this skill just because they played or they grew up in today's game. They could have still ended up being like as skilled as Ben Wallace or something. We don't really know. And like, because I mean, like, there's a lot of guys that grew up in the modern game with access to a lot of those things that didn't develop those capabilities.
True.
So just assuming that like, oh, if they were playing today's game, they would be like because they were a great player in their era. They would just be able to get the things that other guys were doing in this era. I don't think it's that easy
Mhm.
or that simple. Um, but yeah, like guys like Jordan, I think you could always compare him with guys of today, just because his game was ahead of its time. Like
True that.
guys like Hakeem, we could always compare him with guys like today because also his game, like a lot of the things that Hakeem did, would translate very well. In some cases, you could argue, it would translate even better in today's game, right? There's just certain things like there's guys that like it's the opposite.
With
You might be
spacing.
like, yeah. There's guys where it's like, oh, like, I don't know if they would have been able to play in today's game, and that's a lot of these like enforcer types, guys are like, like
With no
it's not
skill,
really, yeah, they were just there to like, use all
foul,
six of those
get
fouls,
rebounds.
foul, yeah, be tough. Like there's guys like that in today's game, but they have demonstrable skills that are
Yeah.
valuable. Like Draymond Green is a great playmaker, and
Exceptional
he's a very
playmaker.
versatile defender. you know.
Mm.
But he's a very high IQ player. He doesn't just like, you know,
Yeah.
he'll have his moments, you know, where he's tweaking and stuff, but he's not just like a dude out there to enforce it, but he has that kind of like that perception.
True.
And so, yeah, it just depends. But I don't think I think that there's always going to be a thing. There's always going to be people comparing different eras, but I think it's better to focus on if you're going to make a comparison, focus on the guys that at least have a lot of versatility to their game. Like one of the things like I even like struggle with when it comes to Shaq, because I think Shaq would still be, and this might be like a lot of people might disagree with this, but I think Shaq would still be great in today's game, but I don't think Shaq would be as great in today's game. I think Shaq would be less dominant. A lot of people are like, oh, like no, Shaq would be even more dominant. Shaq would be greater in today's game, right? I actually think Shaq would be worse in today's game. So I think he'd be a superstar, of course. But I think that
in what ways?
Okay, so a lot of the things that like I think he was able to get like a lot of people talk about a lot of times where how Shaq got like fouled a ton and he would sometimes get fouled and they wouldn't get called or wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt sometimes. I think he also got it both ways though. I think Shaq was able to like get away with a lot more when he was playing. And I think and like to also to his benefit, like a lot of times they didn't call fouls on him, but a lot of times they didn't call fouls on him that were offensive, you know? And in today's game, there's so much there's flopping to another degree, right? There was flopping back then, but like in the paint, I feel like he would get called for so many more offensive fouls, so many charges that that I probably wouldn't even agree with. But compared to some of the stuff that he was doing back then, like he was just tossing dudes in the early 2000s. Like he was forearm shiver, knocking dudes out the way. Like I feel like they penalize big guys for playing that way more today than they do perimeter guys. So guys who do it like on the drive, like off the dribble, who might do like an occasional little brush off, a push off. Even somebody like Giannis, like because Giannis will see him like we'll see him like drive and like he'll sometimes he use his arm and forearm and he'll kind of spin off the dudes
or his shoulder.
But I feel like if Giannis was a traditional big guy doing those things, I feel like he would get punished way more when it comes to the officials. If he was like posting up and just bowing dudes constantly, I feel like, but he does it more off the dribble. He does it in transition a lot, and he does it like, from the 3-point line in.
And usually, like blocking and charging calls are hard to just make because they kind of like bang bang, and he's a star, so they're probably gonna lean his way when they're making the call.
Like a good example is like Dwight. Like some of the calls that Dwight would get, because Dwight would get a lot of like offensive foul calls himself. I feel like Shaq would also be dealing with a lot. Calls. Yeah. I feel like Shaq would be getting a lot of those in today's game, and guys would be falling like crazy if Shaq was playing today's game. And then we also have to factor in the pace of play that we have now, and like how many teams are stretching out with big guys, and like it's so more prevalent in today's game than it was when Shaq was playing. Yeah, Shaq would be able to bring them down into the paint and try and punish them, but I do feel like he would get penalized a little bit more down there, just a little bit more. Like he would get a little more offensive fouls, and then also trying to guard some of these guys, Shaq having to switch onto some of these dudes.
Yeah, it would just having to be put in pick and roll situations.
It's so much more prevalent. Like when the Warriors started doing that, really make teams like have to guard on the perimeter, like constantly. When they started doing that,
I was gonna say like on your Shaq point, like Shaq, he was like a pretty good rim protector too. But like I'm just looking like at his previous finals with Al Horford. Al Horford, he's pretty good as a perimeter defender, and they had him in drop coverage because like he couldn't really keep up with like Steph Curry. So imagine Shaq. That's a pull up. Now on the other end, Shaq could get that work.
Now in this series, Shaq would be it would be interesting because it would be like a real test of like Shaq would be hurting them defensively, but he would also be going crazy on the under. Right. It would be really interesting. It would really come down to the officiating so heavy because there's no the Warriors are going to be trying to draw a ton of offensive fouls on Shaq because that's really they're going to be their best bet. they're not going to be able to guard him like straight up without like flopping and trying to like get and like they would probably I don't know it'd be really interesting to see like
that's why it's always just an interesting thing to think about, like comparing eras. But I can never really just take it too serious because it's it's never like a real answer to it.
Yeah.
So
like with somebody like that though, I feel like it's hard. There's so many arguments you could make either way. It's hard to translate like how it would actually turn out. And so like this is probably going to be like I would say like I'd probably put Duncan higher than Shaq on my list.
Understandable.
In my top 10, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because of his longevity. It's because of his versatility. And like, yes, on defense he was amazing as a rim protector, but like he also was a very good passer, very high IQ player, and he like I just felt like
he was perennial winner, like from start to finish, really.
Oh yeah, and so and also like just like that the longevity means a lot to me. That's a big factor when it comes to like
it's like how good and how long were you good.
Yeah,
that's important.
And that's
it's how I'm just saying, like just like recapping the finals. Steph, he's one of the ones. He's great. So I think the Warriors. I think both teams actually going to be like better next year. I think the Celtics coming off that finals experience, like they got a taste of what it's like, and I think that the front office might be aggressive. I'm gonna talk about that a little later because I got somebody I think that they should try to get, but their front office should be aggressive, trying to like make the team better. I think Tatum and Brown are gonna come back even better. I think Tatum's gonna have like an MVP type season next year. I know it's way too early of a prediction, but I feel like he's gonna have like a MVP season. I think if the Warriors are able to bring back Jordan Poole, I think he's eligible to go to another team or something. I don't know. But they're able to bring back Jordan Poole, Wiggins, and the main reason I think they're gonna be better is because Klay, he's coming back like that second year from returning back from an injury. That's when you usually like are like back to form. And he was some moments he was like really good, some moments he was like very inconsistent. But I think you're gonna see a lot more consistency from Klay this year. And they're gonna be back as a threat and as a true contender in the West for sure.
No, yeah, I think so. I think so as well. They're kind of like it's kind of become wide open again in the West after being just like the most stacked conference for years. It's gotten a lot more. It seems like, I mean, there's the Warriors, and then of course if the Lakers get healthy, there's still going to be a question mark there. We got to see how AD looks, if he can play a full season or close to a full season again. Yeah. Of course, I know a lot of people are talking about.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't even label us contenders right now.
Nah, it's such a question mark.
But, huge question mark.
The Clippers, of course.
You got the new coach.
Yeah.
The freaking Clippers, man.
Yeah, the Clippers are going to be a team that a lot of people are I already see them like making picks right now. Like, oh, they're the favorites. They got the best roster in the NBA.
But I really like that though, because last time they was going crazy on the Clip, like it was actually multiple times. They used to go crazy on the Clip, like in the past, go crazy on the Clip. Oh my God, my early pick, the Clippers. This is gonna be a historic defense. You got Patrick Beverly, you got Montrezl Harrell. This defense, you're not gonna score. This historic defense, and then they end up crashing. I guess the difference is now that they do have Ty Lue as a coach, except for Doc Rivers, so that makes like a huge difference. But let's see. Yeah, the Clippers for sure. I think Dallas is gonna be better. They may lose Jalen Brunson though.
Yeah, I think they are gonna lose him. I know the Knicks are trying to get him, and I think the Knicks like hired like his dad or something as the coaching staff. So I think that he's probably going to be gone. I don't think that they're going to be able to give him the type of money that he's probably going to be able to get, and then also improve their roster further. Because I think that Tim Hardaway has to be re-signed, or I don't know what they're going to do with him.
I thought he signed. I know they signed Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and they that's going to be a big loss for them. And I want to see who they're going to get if they do lose him, because he was huge for them this year. And
I want to see like a star guard, like a star wing or something play with Luka. Like if Zach LaVine could get over there, if Bradley Beal can get over there, that would be like
Beal would be huge. Yeah,
that like a huge upgrade over Jalen Brunson. Somebody just more consistent, like a bigger guard. Somebody you can like rely on from like night to night basis to help like with the scoring load. That'd be great.
You saw that, and of course, my Rockets. John Wall finally out of here. He's been living free, but he's looking like he's going to be on the Clippers, so that's going to be interesting. I feel like that would be.
I think they agree, but I think they got to wait to free agency to officially like sign or something. But that's a great pick for them, because the one thing they were like really missing with those two wings
is a legitimate point guard, like somebody that could actually they haven't really had that since they paired up PG and Kawhi.
And I think that's a good pickup. He doesn't have to be like the John Wall we remember him being in Washington. He just has to be.
He's still capable. Absolutely. He's still very capable, like as a playmaker, pushing it in transition. Mm-hmm. And we he's still one of the better passers when it comes to just like driving kick, finding guys from in the corner in the 3-point line, and
before he got hurt, he was a really good defender too. Like he made a couple all defensive teams, and that's gonna help with them because they already have like other like really good defenders. With Kawhi, PG, you got Robert Covington who play defense. They have shooting. Dang, that team gonna be good.
Yeah, if everybody comes back healthy, it's gonna be very interesting. Like
and they just gave Zubac an extension today, like 3 years, $33 million. But like getting back to your point of like a point guard, who I want to see Boston go try to make a move for, because I just found out like a couple of days ago that he's available. I wonder if you can hear me. They found out a couple of days ago that he's available is DeJounte Murray, because they say that Atlanta is like really pursuing him like heavy, and they want him next to Trae Young, and I think that would be like great, because like we seeing how it's great to have like multiple ball handlers on the court at the same time, and somebody who can like help like take pressure off Trae Young, because when we watched Trae Young against Miami was just like beating him up. They was like trapping him, getting the ball in his hands, and he was forcing others to try to do some stuff. And
Trae Young don't really have anybody else that can like create for him, get him some easy looks. So
exactly, and the only person that was really eating was like Bogdanovich this series. And I think DeLon Wright had a good game or something. But if you have somebody else that can do that for him, for Trae Young, that's gonna like open up their offense a lot more. Now I think they do need to address their defense, and DeJounte Murray is a good defender as well, too.
Oh yeah,
for a point guard. So, but I want to see Boston go get him, because even though Marcus Smart is a really good player and he's a great defender, and at times he can be a good point guard, but other times he can be like boneheaded and kind of like sloppy. And if you can get somebody who can run pick and roll, get your stars into their spots, who can attack when needed, like slow the pace down, just do things to help your wings out. So they like Jason Tatum don't have to bring the ball up. He won't have a lot of turnovers, or Jaylen Brown don't have to bring the ball up, and they won't have a lot of turnovers. Like that would help them so much. And if they can keep Marcus Smart, that's like that's great, because Boston has some depth, so they can probably like give up some of that depth to try to get DeJounte. But I would love that for them. But the Hawks, I would love that for them as well.
Yeah. Did you hear that like one of the reasons why the Spurs have him on the trading block is because Tony Parker is running the team that remember that prospect that you showed me? You showed me like I think like last year.
Oh yeah, with that big man,
like Victor Wembanyama or whatever.
I can't remember, but
Yeah, he was doing some crazy stuff, right? But
I'm mad that the Lakers don't own their draft pick next year because I would be okay with us tanking.
yeah, not for real though. I think they are trying to tank for real. I mean, I don't know how that's going to play out with Pop
Mm.
trying to tank with Popovich. I ain't never seen something like that, but
But yeah, that would be funny if they were to trade for that. I mean, not trade, tank to try to get that guy. But I don't know. I don't think they'll be rewarded for that. I think if they tank, they probably end up with the second pick or something like that. But I mean, it's low key kind of smart though because like the worst place to be in like the NBA is like in the middle. So if you're not at the top, or if you don't have like a great prospect that's gonna bring you to the top, you know, you might as well just be at the bottom and try to rebuild. We got some other let's talk about some other potential free agents out there.
I know the Sixers were trying to get PJ Tucker. I saw that, and I saw they were willing to pay like 30. It was something crazy. I don't know if that actually happened. I saw
Yes,
30 million or something like that for PJ Tucker. I'm like,
30 million.
37 years old. I know they dying for like I guess like some wing depth because they don't really have it. But I don't know about that one.
And Daryl Morey would love PJ.
Yeah, he's low key trying to like
make the Rockets
because they like the Rockets with Embiid or something because they were trying to get Eric Gordon to the draft. You saw the draft day; they were trying to do a trade. They were trying to trade their pick.
I didn't know they were trying to get Eric Gordon.
Yeah, they were trying to trade their pick Matisse Thybulle for Eric Gordon, but the Rockets didn't want to do it. Low key because I mean I'm glad that I don't want Matisse Thybulle. He's one of those players. It's like I think like a lot of people don't realize, but he gets like a lot of praise for his defense, but he's like a football player, man. Like he does not really know how to play basketball. If you really watch him,
yeah,
like he could finish every once in a while, but he does not like know how to play basketball. Like even like on defense, I feel like his defense is actually a little bit overrated. He's gotten like on a couple defensive teams.
He
now.
made it. I didn't think he should have made it this year.
Yeah, but like I feel like he's really reckless on defense. Like he does like a lot of like highlight defensive plays. Like, he'll get like steals and he'll get like some big like out of nowhere blocks and stuff like that. Like he'll block.
He
like,
has great
shots.
like physical like. He has a body, so sometimes he'll get like a reach around steal, or,
Yeah, he does like a lot of great highlight defensive plays, but like when it's a lot of times when it comes to just like stay in front of your man, just like just simple like smart defensive plays, like just being solid. Sometimes he makes like a lot of mistakes there that I feel like people don't really talk about because sometimes he'll get beat and he'll recover and get like a crazy block.
Yeah,
but there's plenty of times where he'll get beat and he will not recover, and or he'll make silly fouls where he'll like foul a guy on 3-point shots or foul jump shooters. He does it all the time.
I remember a big one. It was like Game 7 last year versus the Hawks. He had like a bad foul like towards the end of the game. And he and Ben Simmons did a great job on Trae Young, but that just came to my head when you talking about him making silly fouls.
Yeah. And like I feel like he's one of those players that like I feel like a lot of other, and it kind of sounds funny to say, but I feel like a lot of other teams, a lot of other, I guess, media people that they don't really hyper focus and watch his game. Like I think they rate him a lot higher, and so I feel like there's going to be a team that's going to make a trade for him. They're going to probably give him a nice deal, and they're going to be surprised. Like this man, like he does not really know how to play basketball. I'll be completely straight up.
I don't really think a lot of these people who vote on like all NBA and all defense, I don't think some of them really just sit there and really like analyze the game, just watch the game. Like how, I don't know. I feel like there were better perimeter defenders this season than Matisse Thybulle.
Oh, for sure.
But
and also two-way guys too. But
but like sometimes people just make it off rip. Like it was crazy to me last year how the Lakers had the best defense in the league, but none of the players made all defense, and a team who had like the 15th best defense in the league made all defense. I don't know. It's strange to me, but that's how it is. But yeah, PJ, that's a big deal for him. 3 years for 30.
Yeah, if that happens, I feel like I don't know. I feel like they're not
Yeah.
going to do that, but
What's another name out there? Did Harden opt in yet?
he has until tomorrow to decide.
Has until tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow's the
I think
deadline.
he's.
The reports were that he was going to opt in, and then that the rumor was that he was going to opt in, and the Sixers were going to sign him to a 2-year deal, a shorter term contract. But there's also now I saw like another recent report that he might not opt in. He might sign a shorter, a less expensive deal for them this year, and like sign like a 2-year extension. So like he could, because I think if he opts in, they're maxed out. Like they can't sign nobody. Pretty much, they can't really do anything. Like he opts in, like they're pretty much stuck.
So you saying like he will opt out to give them some like flexibility to add players
for this season? Yeah. I think like if they want to add somebody like PJ or Eric Gordon or whatever they were trying to do, they would have to make a trade. He can't
make that much.
Yeah, he'd have to make a trade because I think if he opts in, it's like 40 something million or something like that. But he could sign like a 30 million or whatever for this year. I don't know what he's going to do, but it is weird to me that he's been waiting until like, the last, the 25th hour or whatever it's going to be. So we'll see.
Yeah. Earlier today, Russell Westbrook opted in to his deal, and
Kyrie did too.
Kyrie, yeah, he opted in yesterday, I believe. But
what's
crazy?
That whole thing was wild. That was just wild.
Yeah, the whole Kyrie situation was just weird. We can talk about that too because when it came out of nowhere that they were at odds, like the Nets and Kyrie were at odds with each other, and then Kyrie wants to come to the Lakers, and I wake up, I'm like, what? Kyrie want to come to the Lakers? Like what? So instantly, I thought it could be like a leverage thing to try to I
think it was
try to get like a long-term deal from Brooklyn.
Yeah, ultimately, I think that's what it was. I think he was just trying to, because there were so many teams listed on that link. It was against Philly. Like he had Philly listed on there. Like, come on, what?
Yeah, Philly.
Philly
he just why would they do that? And they just went and got James Harden.
There ain't no way. So I think it was definitely a leverage thing. Like he wanted to see, because he knows that if he's gone, then KD's probably gonna want to be gone, and they want to keep KD. Mm-hmm. KD's gonna probably be asking out.
Because they got that rebuild, and they owe all their picks to
us,
to Houston.
To us.
So yeah, it's I don't know, but there are some reports though. Even though that Kyrie just opted in, that the Nets could still move him because he's going to be free agent next summer. So you don't want to lose him for nothing. So we gotta see. And earlier today, Russell Westbrook opted in, which I expected him to because this was, even though I think Russ still is a good player, this was likely his last max contract in the league, unless some things just go back on an upward spiral for him.
Yeah, ain't no way he wasn't gonna opt into that. No.
Yeah, but I think it. I mean, for the Lakers, it now makes him tradable, if it's possible for him to be traded. I see some trade packages out there, but I don't know if other teams are really want to accept those, unless the fact that they want to just have a expiring contract on the books right now, and then next year they have cap space galore because that's $47 million just coming off. And I seen a deal out there for the Pacers. I seen a deal out there for Hornets. So we'll see if the Lakers end up trading him. Maybe they want to try to run it back with Darvin Ham. So
I know that the Pacers are trying to shop, I think, Brogdon too, right?
Brogdon. And I saw Miles Turner, but they said the Pacers GM said they're not shopping Miles Turner, but sometimes they say one thing and then the next day the player is traded. So I don't think that's just smoke. So we'll see. I would love to have like Brogdon and Miles Turner
No, he's
with the
definitely one of
Lakers.
those. Yeah, he's definitely one of those players that's like underrated that can like I think help any type of contending type team. So
Yeah, and
um,
like I think that just that brings some depth back like to the Lakers. Like we can play the 4 out 1 in that Darvingham would like to play because Miles Turner just Miles like he's a great rim protector. He can catch lobs and he can space the floor exceptionally well. Brogdon is a guy who can shoot, can play make, he can defend, he can hit free throws at a high clip.
mhm.
He can, run the offense if need be, or he can like spot up. If LeBron runs the offense, oh man, got me dreaming right now. But yeah, that's some rumors right now around Russell Westbrook. What do you think ends up happening though? Do you think he ends up getting traded, or just the season just plays out with uh, Westbrook on the Lakers, or the season starts with Westbrook on the Lakers? I would say.
Oh, I think the season's definitely gonna start with Westbrook on the Lakers. I think if he gets traded, it's gonna have to probably be at the deadline. I
Uh
just don't see any teams trying to make a move like that right now. Um, maybe if something happens mid-season, maybe if there's like an injury or it'd have to be something big. I don't think any team is willing to take on Russ at this moment. So
huh. Hmm.
um,
Yeah, man, that's he makes a lot of money. He's gonna be like I think the second highest paid guy after Steph this upcoming season. I
wait
think it
for
would
real.
have been John. Yeah, I think it would have
Oh
been
yeah,
John Wall if he wasn't.
but he took a slight pay cut for the buyout. Yeah,
Yeah, it took a slight pay
like
cut for the
yeah, like
buyout.
6 mil or something like
Yeah,
that.
and then he rumored to basically get that back from the middle of exception from the Clippers.
Oh, that's why he did it.
So we'll see. I think the Lakers have a mid-level exception to hit on as well too. Um, Gonna be excited to see Kendrick Nunn back. He didn't play all season, so we'll see how it works out
Yeah,
for us.
like back is the operative word right there. Because
Well,
he didn't
yeah.
even really. Yeah, I know what you mean. Though.
See him, period.
Right?
Uh, who else? Oh, let's talk about Bradley Beal. So Bradley Beal, he was in the news saying one that he already knows where he wants to go, but he's not gonna say it yet. And another thing, where he goes is where he said he's gonna decide based off his opportunity to win. He wants to win. So I'm like, okay. When I heard that second part, I was like, okay, he's not coming back to Washington because
Oh hell
Washington, they aren't terrible, but with him as the
no.
guy, they're
They're
not
not doing
gonna.
nothing.
Yeah, like they got him, they got Porzingis, they got Kuzma, they got KCP. I love KCP and Kuz. Oh my gosh, they got Saturansky, which is a decent team who can probably make be a play in at best, type team. But if he wants to win, there's no way he really wants to stay in Washington. But there's a rumor that came out that he can get like a 5-year deal for like $250 something million. And yeah, there's no way he's turning that down. Like that's like over 50 M's a year. And that's like the max because he's signing with a team that like he's already on. Like if he goes to another team, he's basically leaving like almost $60 million on the table. Like he can get like a 4-year for like 190 something, which is good money. But 190 and 250, that's a
Not for real.
big gap in between. So it's like, okay, are you choosing generational wealth over winning, which is I'll choose generational wealth, but you can have both really if you want, but you get more money. But I don't know. It was a confusing when that statement came out when they said, "Oh, he's going to choose where he wants to win," but then there's a report that says he's likely going to go where the money is. What do you think ends up happening with Bradley Bill?
I mean, it's tough. Like, I mean, if he's being honest about what he's saying, then he shouldn't. I mean, the supermax, he's not going to be taking that then. because I mean, like he could resign for that supermax with Washington, right? But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but then of course he's going to be stuck there and he's not going to be able to win. I don't think like he's going to resign there and then force a trade. Like, I mean, it's possible. I guess that could always happen down the line, but it ain't going to happen in the next season probably.
Nah.
So I don't know.
I was talking to Trey. He said, well, it would be smart for him to just re-up, get the supermax, and then request a trade. But like,
I mean, we've seen guys request trades, but it's usually like a couple years into the deal at least, right?
Yeah, or like
or
like near like the last year of their deal. Like you can't like that's all up to the team. Like really at that point, like just because like Anthony Davis, he had like a lot of leverage in his trade request to the Lakers because he was in the final year of his deal. Another team didn't want to trade for him because it would be like a 1 year rental. So you don't want to trade for a guy who you're gonna just have for 1 year. If he doesn't want to play for you, it's kind of like a waste. You know, he's gonna go out there play. If you win a championship, you know, then you win one like Kawhi did with the Raptors. Like they took a risk. They traded for him on a 1 year rental. They won a championship, and he still left. So you trade for a guy and you don't win the championship in the final year of your deal, then you kind of screwed. And a lot of teams don't want to take that chance. So that's why AD had leverage to go to the Lakers, a team that everybody knew he wanted to play for. In Bradley Beal's case, he wouldn't have leverage because over the Wizards because he'll be like, buddy, you got 5 years left. You can ride this out. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So we'll see how that works.
I mean, if I was a Wizard, I would offer him like something below the supermax. Because if they offer him the supermax, like the most he can get, like no other team could offer him that, and they're maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
They give him that deal, like they can't add anything to they can't do anything with their team. Like it would be kind of pointless. You're not going anywhere. The only reason to give him that deal is if like you know that he's gonna like you want to trade him or something. I don't understand like the.
Or maybe you talking about like the supermax.
Yeah, because like it would be like 230 or something like that, and then I think that they would be unable to sign anybody else. Pretty much, they would just be like they'd be kept out as well.
Yeah. Well, they pretty much they traded the John Wall contract for Russ Westbrook. Then they traded the Russ Westbrook contract for KCP and Kuz. I think KCP can opt out and become a free agent now. And they just got Porzingis on their books. I think his contract will be up pretty soon. But my prediction is I think he stays. He gets the money. I mean, that's a lot of money to try to pass up.
That's the biggest contract of his career by far. So, I mean.
Yeah. That'd be probably one of the biggest contracts in the NBA once he signs it. So
yeah. I honestly think that it's probably going to go something like that. He's going to end up signing it, and then he's going to probably play out the season, maybe play until like the second year. He might play a couple years in that contract, and then he's going to force a trade eventually. Like I just feel like eventually it's going to come to a point where he's going to either force a trade or he's going to ask out, and I just don't see him staying there for that whole entire contract.
I kind of just see Bradley Beal I kind of just see Bradley Beal as like a guy who's content with just getting buckets, cashing his check, and chilling. Like, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. But it's I don't know. It's like you make a statement, say you want to win, and then you get the bread. I don't know. It's just confusing. But either way, it's a great option. Get the bread or go to a team you can win. It's a great option. I would want to have those options. But we can also speak on another guard, Zach LaVine, who's can re-up, I believe, for what they said, like 5 years for like 212, something like that, for Zach LaVine. I think there were some rumors that the Bulls didn't really want to throw the bag at him because of his knee injury and like he wasn't really healthy towards like the end of the season and then the playoffs. And there was some questions about that, but I think they owner or the GM like shot that down. Like, nah, we gonna throw the bag at Zach LaVine. We're gonna try to max him out. And I think Bradley Beal should just try to like explore. Not Bradley Beal. Zach LaVine should try to like just explore like free agency. Like this, probably like his first time being a free agent. Like he was signed with the Timberwolves, and he signed an extension with the Bulls. So I think it's always important for a free agent to just explore free agency. Let's see what another team can do for you. Let's see what another city has for you. Like LA. Nah, but nah, he can't even come to LA unless it's like a sign and trade or something. But I doubt that would ever happen. But yeah, like you just never know. But that's a lot of money he would leave on the table too, because just like Bradley Beal, the Bulls are like the team that can pay him the most.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a team like even like Dallas like go after him, because I know if they let Jalen Brunson go, yeah, I could see like that be a better option for them, because they need like a bigger wing type player to pair with Luka. And he's I think that'd be a lot more interesting of a fit than especially if Jalen Brunson is going to be out of there.
And Dallas they just traded for Christian Wood. I think Christian Wood's probably gonna have like one of his best seasons playing.
He's gonna be a lot more motivated. So we'll see.
He's gonna be a lot more motivated, and he's gonna have a lot more like spoon feeds for sure. Like, cause I just remember him playing with Harden for those few games.
Like they were really good. He's a really good finisher as a pick and roll partner.
He has great touch.
Like, really good touch, really quick jumps as well, like finishing like those lobs and like catches around the rim. Luka's gonna love that. So I mean, that's gonna be definitely a better pairing than he had with Kristaps when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's a really good floor spacer as well. Like he shoot like 38, 39% three, being like 6'10".
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how he plays. Like I want to see like how different his attitude is going to be when it comes to how he looks, how motivated he is.
Some people said Christian Wood can be an all-star next year, and I'm like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Like Luka can make him look like if he can put up like all-star numbers, like if he can get you like 23 and 10 or something, because he usually on the boards a lot. He's gonna have a lot more opportunities playing with Luka.
It's possible.
A lot more open opportunities.
He could be. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets close to like 20 and 20. Yeah, I could see that. Defensively, they're gonna have some problems. That they're gonna have to,
but well, as far as like rim protection, yes, but like they were pretty good like defensively in the playoffs. At least they had like a lot of wings who were out there like defending pretty well. You had Dorian Finney-Smith, you had Maxi Kleber who can play defense. You had Reggie Bullock, who committed to defense, and they all were floor spacers as well. Even Jalen Brunson at times was playing good defense. So I think that's like that's kind of like they kind of were influenced by that coach to step up on defense too. So we'll see if Jason Kidd and Jared Dudley can influence Christian Wood to not be so weak.
Yeah. I think a part of it was like he just like didn't really care, like especially this past season with the Rockets,
because he's on a bad team. So
yeah, but I think also like even when he tries, like he does struggle defensively. He's just like he plays really really soft a lot of times. Like it's just the case. Like he gets bullied and overpowered a lot in the paint. So it's going to be interesting to see how much that affects their defense, because they actually were able to make it work last year. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be it's a give and take right there. He improves them a lot more offensively. Better fit, probably the best fit that Lucas had as a pick and roll partner.
Yeah, for sure.
So now that's going to be we got to get into the draft.
So let's talk about this draft. So we were bamboozled, like up until like the last hour, maybe like 30 minutes before the draft because on everybody's list, on everybody's board, Jabari Smith was going to the Magic. And everybody had Chet Holmgren going to OKC. And everyone had Paulo Banchero. Is it Banchero or Banchero?
I think it's Banchero, but I've been saying Banchero for
whatever, man. P5. That's what I call him, P5. Everybody had him going to Houston. And I was extremely content with P5 coming to the H. Like he would be great. He's like a 6'10", but he can play point forward. He can play out of the post. His shot coming around throughout the season. And Duke, I watched a lot of his workouts. He was shooting the ball really well. I mean, just a workout, but he works on his shot a lot. He's like a big body, and I thought he would fit extremely well next to Jalen Green.
Yeah,
and then about
his playmaking ability too, I think would have been something that we could have used. But
yeah, and then about like an hour, 30 minutes before, it was some reports coming out that Orlando was looking to try to get Paulo, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if they're really trying to get him. I think like the Rockets, the fact that the Rockets had other picks in that first round, Orlando would have been okay with either getting Chet Holmgren or Jabari Smith. They wanted the Lakers. They wanted the Rockets to try to panic and trade up for the first pick while also giving up one of their later picks in the first round. That's what I was thinking. Like they don't really want that guy, but they ended up picking Paulo. So wait, I want to know like your analysis like on those top three picks, the way it like kind of folded out.
No, I do think that I think Paulo has the best. Like I was actually fine when things shook out the way they did, because originally like I thought that like everybody did have Jabari Smith as the clear consensus number one pick. And I think it's probably because I think his floor is probably the highest. Like I think like he's probably, like at the very worst, I think he's probably going to be like a more athletic Shane Battier or something like that, right? I think like the very worst, like he'd be something like that, like a more athletic, like can finish above the rim a little bit more. But like I think that the other two, like Paulo, very versatile offensive player, big body, NBA ready body, can score off the dribble, and can play very physical, and also like he could score in a variety of ways. He can create for others. I was already really sold on us getting him. I just thought it was a sure thing, I was already thinking of like how Jalen Green was probably going to end up playing off of him a little bit. Now it's kind of going to be the other way around with Jabari. Because Jabari's probably the thing that he lacks is a consistent shot creation. I see like he has a nice little pull up. He has a pull up game, but he can
and the spot up game too.
Yeah, but like probably like I'm questioning like him getting his own shot, but it's still way too early to say because I mean he's 19, so but he can improve there. But I don't know if like I see necessarily like a star for sure out of him. And I think that there was like a greater potential. I think that Paulo had the most likely star potential. I would say like ceiling.
I think he had like the most like superstar potential for sure.
Yeah. I think that like I think the ceiling I see for like Jabari potentially. Now this is like not really. I guess this is not an ideal comparison for what I would think to see him as, but like something like a more perimeter oriented LaMarcus Aldridge with greater defensive potential. That would be like, to me, like the best case scenario, or like seeing what I think it can be. Because he does have a nice little mid-post game. He has a nice little turnaround, Jay, and he could play on the block. He has a really high release.
Yeah, I was just thinking about LaMarcus. I was watching an old game. LaMarcus, he was a rookie. that turnaround fadeaway been money since he was a rookie. Like I was watching,
Yeah.
it was a game I think Kobe dropped like 60 in, and I was watching. I'm like, man, that been money since he was a rookie. He can still turn around and pop that
Nah, yeah.
like it's nothing.
He been elite at that since like he came in the league. And he just like he kind of like as he got older, he started to stretch out a little bit occasionally to the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Jabari's going to be able to come into the league and do that. I think that should have translated right away. The thing that I don't think he's going to have right out the gate is like a legit post game. Like he's not really like a low post player like that. Like Aldridge like really developed a solid post game. He wasn't just like mid range only. So that's going to be more of a question mark. Yeah.
But Jabari, he has like a lot more athleticism though.
Yes, he's more athletic. He's quicker, and like seeing him pull up from three and stuff like that. That's something that like you wouldn't really see from LaMarcus. So his game is more fluid.
See him dunk on quite a few people too. And some highlights. And
one
like
of the things I did like, I really did like that. Like I don't know if you saw this or repeat this. Like he made more threes. So he's a freshman. He only had 1 year in Auburn. He made more threes than in 1 year than any player his size in college basketball ever. Like he made the most. They said any for all players that because he was 6'10", 6'11", around there. Any player that's his size and above, he's made more threes than all of them in a single season in the NCAA.
Yeah, he was
so like
probably like he was like the best shooter in the draft.
Yeah, he shot like 42% from three, and they were showing like I saw like other comparisons like players that shot close to that volume and that amount of attempts, and he's not KD, but KD was the other player. Yeah, KD was like right up there, and it was Cam Johnson. It was him, KD, and Cam Johnson. And I know you're like obviously like very very different levels of those players, but yeah, like I do like. I mean, that's a very promising thing right there to see from. He'll never be. I don't like the KD comparison when people were mentioning it out the gate because like he just doesn't have the ball handling ability.
Yeah, usually if you just like if you tall and you can shoot,
they're like, oh, he has a really high release and it's a really smooth stroke and
he's 6'10",
and he's 6'10", and he could pull up. KD like nah, like KD had like perimeter skills. Like I don't want to say guard skills, but yeah, like he could
like
shot
pretty much
off the dribble. Yeah. He can go and get it himself. Well, I still think apart from like occasionally pulling up, I don't think he's going to do that a lot in the NBA. He's not really going to be somebody that can just go and get it himself. Like his ball handling is not there. He's still going to be dependent.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just sometimes like these players they surprise you. Like you be like, oh, but then
you never know.
It just depends on like their work ethic and how
and they do say that like he has like a really strong work ethic. So we'll see. Like he definitely now defensively, that's something that he could like really help us because that's where we're lacking him as far as just like being able to switch out on the perimeter and guard a lot of different guys. And he has a solid frame. Like when he gets a little bit bigger and puts on weight, he's going to fill out very well. He's going to be able to play, and I'm not worried about him like not being able to physically handle it. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm just hoping that he's going to be more than just like a 3-and-D, an elite 3-and-D guy. That would be cool, but like I'm hoping that he's more than that. And that's why I'm looking at that like LaMarcus Aldridge kind of like ceiling.
Yeah, they say Coach Silas he likes to stick rookies in the corner at least like to start off. But I mean that wouldn't be necessarily a bad option with how good he can shoot the ball. So I mean like that NBA line is a lot of different from college, but he has like a nice stroke like to his shot. But let's talk about your least favorite of the top three picks. Chet Holmgren, and he was like my least favorite. I think he does have star potential, but I was just hoping that the Rockets didn't pick him. I don't know. It just kind of scares me. But he is like extremely skilled, and he can potentially be like a elite, like to like really really great like rim protector. But I don't know. It's like his frame and everything. Like it scares me. But you can go into a little more in depth on
Oh yeah,
that.
it's just like he's very skilled and one of the things that I'm always concerned about guys that are that frail in the NBA, especially like after seeing so many guys come to the league and get hurt. He is like the most extreme we've seen. 195 pounds and what is it, like 7'2", 7'1", and yeah, we've never seen anything like that. Like I said
Buck
that kind of
90,
before.
7 feet. That's crazy. That's some 2K type.
Yeah. And like a 2K, they like I can't even. Do they even let you make it like that? I don't even know.
Yeah, you can make it like that, but the thing with
But you,
2K, you can still be like real strong and be like super fast. And 2K is like, I don't know. You could be 190, 7'2", but have like extreme strength. I don't know. But the NBA is different. And I just fear the first time he played Joel Embiid, it's gonna be crazy.
dang, see, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, he's just like
But
I,
we got,
I
we
don't
got,
know.
we got to see how because sometimes you got to get an NBA body, and sometimes players can still be skinny but still be like extremely effective. Because we seen how like Brandon Ingram developed throughout the years, and I watched him like put on muscle, and he's still like skinny, but he's able to take like contact now, play through it, and hit tough shots and everything, and
Yeah, I think it's a
so
little
we'll
different though
see.
because he's playing more on the perimeter though. Still, like
Yeah,
it's
but
just a
yeah, Shet he's kind of like he's a big, but he can also kind of do some things on the perimeter as well.
yeah. But I feel like he's gonna have to end up playing at the five, right? I don't think he's just gonna be a stretch four in the league. I mean, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see, but like
Mhm.
he's probably gonna end up anchoring the defense, and I don't know, man. I'm always I feel like if he wasn't so high at the top of the draft, I would be more I'd be
Optimistic.
more open, yeah, more optimistic. But like just taking somebody that high, like with that kind of, it's just always I just always
Potential
feel like it's going.
downside.
Yeah, the risk is just. It always seems like that risk is going to come into
Uh,
plays, and it's going to happen. Like there's going to be an injury. I hope it doesn't happen. Like that's a terrible thing that like because you want to see how
mhm.
these players are going to develop. I just feel like it's almost like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how bad it's going to be. You know,
Yeah. And
and
I think for OKC, I think it was a good pick for a number of
yeah,
reasons.
I understand why they did it
Yeah, for a
because I
number of
mean,
reasons. They have like some young talent already. They have Josh Giddey and Shea, who are like kind of like co-point guards, and they both like are really good players, especially Shea. You have like Lou Dort who's coming up, Terrence, not Terrence, Trey Man who's over there. Like just a whole bunch of young players. And the reason I think it's a good selection is because if it doesn't work out, they have like a million more like first round picks.
yeah,
So they'll be all right if they miss
yeah.
on this one. And
They're built for like because I think he's going to be kind of a project kind of
mhm,
player. They're built to like that's
yeah,
what they're trying to do. Like they're trying to
uh,
develop all these young guys together,
mhm.
anyways.
And like
So if it,
they can have patience with him because they aren't you know well, they have patience for him to develop into who they want him to be, and then
and
they
I feel
have
like
like a bunch of picks down the road. So
yeah, I feel like for Orlando it would have been a harder pick to get somebody like Chet because they already got like a lot of frail big guys over there, or guys that
mm,
are like slender that kind of like have had like injury issues. Guys like Mobamba, and you got
yeah, but
uh
Mobamba he can potentially leave this offseason though.
yeah. Yeah, he
But they
might.
got
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
uh, I,
Jonathan Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac and
Uh,
Wendell Carter Jr. over there.
mhm.
I like Wendell Carter. I think he'd be a nice next to Paulo.
So they're like,
But
yeah, I'm very interested to see how this because I know this any one of these three could pan out. We gonna see, but
mm, so just a super crazy early prediction. Who do you think ends up being like the first player out of these three to win MVP if they win?
Paulo, but I don't think any of them's gonna win MVP. I don't
Really?
think any. Yeah, I don't think any of them's gonna be like that that type of player
like
yet.
a best player in the league.
Nah, I feel like that's more likely to happen with the last year's draft. I still feel like that's going to be
Last year. Oh, with Cade and Jalen Green and
yeah.
Scotty Barnes.
I think we're gonna be looking back at that draft a little bit more than this one.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like these guys, like I mean, the top of this draft was really anybody could have picked anybody in that top three. Nobody would have really faulted anybody, I guess.
Yeah. But some underrated picks I like. I love that Jaden Ivey went to Detroit. He is like a scoring like point guard, and I think that'd be great next to Cade. And I'm glad that I think that since they took Jaden Ivey, they're probably done with Killian Hayes. And I don't Killian Hayes sucked, man. I tried to get on the Killian Hayes train. Like I watched a lot of Detroit games. He just be tripping. Like he's been getting better, but nah. I think they're looking in another direction. And I think like Cade with Jaden Ivey, that'd be great. And they still have Sadiq Bey.
And Sacramento passed up on him to get that one dude. Man. I know they got a ton of heat for that, even though I mean it's
like they always take the wrong guy. They've been doing this for decades. We'll see, man. We'll see. I think they tried to double down on De'Aaron Fox instead of just taking the best player available.
Yeah, I understand why they did it. I guess because they really are buying into that he's going to be like that guy for them. But I mean, if you're willing to trade away, I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to understand what they're trying to do in Sacramento.
Who knows what Sacramento gonna do? I think the Supersonics made the playoffs last before the Kings made the playoffs, and they're not even a team anymore. But let me see what else we got. How did we cover the finals? We covered free agency and the draft. Guess we can come back after some of these free agent signings and some of these trades. So, off season about to be interesting. But that's a wrap for the Double Dribble podcast with Destin and Drew. We'll see you after free agency.
Yes,
Peace.
All right.